Hey Keto,
Yes,
Ant-Man recap?
with George and Jay.
Let's do it.
Ant-Man. The year is 1989, and Hank Pym, aka Ant-Man, is P.O. Turns out the S.H.I.E.L.D. founders were trying to replicate Hank's Pym particles, the key behind his shrinking tech. He swears to hide the tech till he dies. In present day, Hank's been booted from his own company by Darren Cross, who is close to perfecting the shrinking suit tech, and Darren plans on using the suit for nefarious purposes. Wow. Also, Hank's daughter still works for the company. Cut to Scott Lang being punched in the face. He's a good guy, Scott Lang, but he's also a thief. After getting out of the slammer, Scott meets up and starts living with his old friend Luis, who tries to get Scott back into stealing things, but Scott wants to see his daughter. He's divorced, by the way, so he's going to be a good boy and work for Baskin-Robbins until he gets fired for being a criminal, and he needs money for child support. So he joins up with Luis and the gang to bust out into a rich guy's place. But at the end of the day, it's night, and Scott only gets the Ant-Man suit. Scott gives it a test run, and then Hank starts talking to him. Shrinking stuff happens, and Scott decides that returning the suit is probably the best option.
Stop right there, criminal scum!
He gets arrested though and ends up getting out of jail via Hank Pym himself. Hank tells Scott that he needs him to steal some crap, specifically the suit Darren is working on, and Scott agrees to help. So Hank and Hope, Hank's daughter, name is Hope, trains Scott to become the next Ant-Man. Around this point, Scott fiddles around with the suit, tech, and Hank tells him that bad things could happen, and like being shrunken down to the quantum realm and disappearing, it's really bad, and that's also what happened to Hank's wife. But then Darren thinks them to be sus, so he beefs up security. Scott and the other two are forced to enlist the help of Luis and these two other guys. They set up some explosive to destroy everything, and they also managed to steal the suit. Almost. Unfortunately, Darren traps Scott. Oop, wait, he's out and he's moving. They managed to blow up the building as planned, but Darren suits up as the Hornet, forgot to say the name of the suit earlier, and battles Scott in both small and large scale. They have the final showdown in Cassie's bedroom. That's complicated to, yeah. And it ends with Scott shrinking down so small that he can screw up Darren's Hornet suit and forces it to shrink out of existence. Bye bye Darren. Scott then enters the quantum realm and actually manages to get back. This is a real big deal because Hank's wife could still be alive. Anyway, that's the end of this movie. Also, Hope is gonna get a suit, and yay.
It's about time.
Civil War. So there's this big argument between Iron Man and Captain America about freedom. Captain America recruits Scott to fight for the cause. Scott is thrilled to help because he's a fanboy, and all the Avengers and then some meet up to duke it out. Scott manages to sneak into Iron Man's suit and mess some stuff up, but don't worry, Iron Man always learns from his mistakes. And now this is where Scott tries something pretty interesting. Scott has been experimenting with suit tech, and now he can get bigger. Pretty pog. He continues fighting Iron Man's team, but ends up getting punched out, but it was still a fun time. He gets arrested, but Cap busts him and the rest of the team free.
Introducing for the first time on this channel, Autobot Side of J.
Scott destroys Hank's suit and decides to turn himself into the authorities and organizes a plea deal so he can see his daughter again. He's not about that criminal life. Meanwhile, Hank and Hope are on the run since Scott exposed the existence of Ant-Man, and the feds think that tech is a bit illegal. Just a bit. Scott is under house arrest, and he's almost finished with his 2 years when he has a weird dream involving Hank's wife, Janet. He lets Hank know via a secret phone, though he doesn't think it's too important. However, Hank and Hope think that Janet may still be alive in the quantum realm, so after getting Scott's message, they kidnap him, believing that the dream was a message from the quantum realm. They think he might be the key to finding Hope's mom. Their super lab can shrink, so they get on the move. Scott isn't too fond of the idea of being caught and sent to prison for 20 years, but Hank is like, don't even worry about it, mate. The ants got it. The ants are actually kind of OP. While Hope is getting a part, they need to finish their quantum tunnel. A fight breaks out with the black market businessmen. A villain called Ghost pops up and steals it. Scott uses a new suit for Hank, which has a few bugs, and tries to help. But the Ghost gets away and also takes the lab. I actually do like the character of Ghost and the suit design, and I was excited to see her back in the Thunderbolts, so it sucks that she got cut from it. They retreat to Scott's new business he has with Louise and his friends to make a plan. They can't track the lab, but luckily, Hank knows someone who might be able to help. Bill Foster used to work with Hank on a S.H.I.E.L.D. project called Project Goliath, where they used Pym particles to increase their mass, just like Scott does to become Giant Man. They had a falling out, so they're not too fond of each other. They got a little bit of beef. Things might get smoky. Smoke might pop out. Things might get big or small. Pun intended. Bill says he can't help them directly, but tells them if they modify one of Hank's old regulators, they could pinpoint the location of his lab. If only Scott hadn't waited. Never mind. It turns out Scott did not actually destroy the suit. They get it and track down the lab to this creepy place and get attacked and apprehended by Ghost. It turns out Bill Foster has been working with her all along. This is why everybody needs to watch out for fake people, because in every movie, everywhere, in real life, there's fake people. This is why you can't just trust anybody, because everybody's fake. There's a lot of fake people. Oh my goodness. Such a plot twist. What's gonna happen? I have no idea what's gonna happen. Like, this is so exciting. So exciting. Like, this is crazy. I've never been this excited, like, ever watching a movie. Like this excitement is so big. I should pass it to George the Superior right.
Hello everybody, I'm George the Superior, and I'm really happy and honored to be back on Mio and Kato's channel. Ghost is Eva Starr, a former S.H.I.E.L.D. agent with powers. She can phase through solid matter at will. However, her power has become more and more unstable over time. So has her mind, it seems. She has a matter of days to live, so Foster wants to help using Hank's lab to get Janet for themselves so they can extract the quantum particles to stabilize Ava. The process could kill Janet, but morality is so last week, thus Bill and Ava don't care. The goodies surprise attack the baddies and nab the lab. They set up in a forest to escape notice and start a plan to rescue Janet. Lewis and the boys get intercepted by those shady guys from earlier. Lewis gets forced to tell them where the lab is, and Ghost is there too. Lewis warns Scott and the crew. He also warns Scott that the feds are heading to his house. He gets back in time, but finds out that Hank and Hope have been arrested.
Stop right there, criminal scum!
And the lab is missing, taken by Ghost. Scott breaks his buddies out of jail, and they trick Ghost and Bill out of the lab, and Hank gets into the ship and jumps into the quantum realm. Ant-Man and the Wasp defend the lab and go on a merry chase. First they have the lab, then Ghost does, then the black market guys, then Ant-Man goes giant man mode. Hank manages to get to the subatomic quantum realm, he finds Janet and they head back. Ghost enlarges the lab and prepares to nab Janet's energy as Hank takes the two of them back from the quantum realm. Our heroes stop the bad guys and Hank and Janet return safely. It is a sweet reunion. Janet uses her newfound quantum powers to fix Ghost, at least for the time being. Bill Foster decides to stay with Ava to presumably help her escape the authorities, because she is clearly a good person who totally doesn't deserve to be arrested for her multiple crimes. Scott's house arrest is finally over and he gets to spend more time with his daughter and gets to see Hank, Hope and Janet more often. They send Scott into the quantum realm using a miniature version of their quantum tunnel so they can acquire quantum particles. Damn it, I hate the word quantum so much. Okay. They send Scott into the quantum realm using a miniature version of their quantum tunnel so they can acquire quantum particles for Ava so she can stay stable. I totally butchered that at the end. Don't judge me, I'm trying. Okay. Final time. They send Scott into the quantum realm using a miniature version of their quantum tunnel so they can acquire quantum particles for Ava so she can stay stable. Yes! I nailed it! But elsewhere in the world, at the very moment Scott goes to the quantum realm, the purple man named Thanos snaps his fingers and anyone who could flip the switch to bring Scott back is turned into dust. But please don't do the math because it was also daylight in Wakanda, but also in San Francisco.
Endgame! Scott manages to get out of his predicament because a rat crawls across the controller. So thank God for that rat, I guess. After getting back, Scott tries to find Cassie, and she's all grown up and played by a completely different actress, other than the one we see in Quantumania, but don't be confused. After learning what happened while he was out, he goes to our remaining Avengers with a plan. While he was in the quantum realm, time passed differently, or something, so they make up a plan to use time travel. If you don't know what happened in Infinity War or Endgame, I highly recommend watching Infinity War. All you need to know about Endgame is they use time travel to try to reverse the results of Infinity War. They succeed to bring back everyone who was dusted, including Hope, Hank, and Janet. Ant-Man doesn't end up striking and taking out Thanos from the inside, but he and Wasp team up with everyone else to help in a more conventional fight. And in the end, they win! Hooray!
That was Ant-Man's life in about 5 minutes.
Psych! That's the wrong number!
Probably with a little bit extra, but you know, you need the information.
Now you're ready to watch Quantumania, and you'll understand what's going on, hopefully.
Thank you for George the Superior and Autobot Side of Jay for joining in with this recap. Really appreciate it. You should go check them out.
The links to their channels will be in the description down below.
And if you want to go watch another recap, you should go watch this one over here because you probably didn't watch the show. And we'll see you over there. But until then, he's Mio.
And he's Keto.
And we'll see you over there. Bye!
Bye.